So there's this bizarre trend going around on the internet where older women are trying to shame men into believing that they're predators or that there's something wrong with them for dating younger women. And I want to make absolutely sure that we are talking about adults, right? So they're absolutely livid at a man like Leonardo DiCaprio who's picking younger girlfriends, even though all of them are over the age of 18. So this is what we're talking about. Like, if they notice that the difference in age between the man and the woman is more than 5 years, they freak out. They start calling the man a predator. They start saying that the man is abusing the woman, even though she's 21 and he is 26. So let's listen to one of these ladies complaining, and then we can actually talk about what she is saying.
The moment you turn 28, dating is so different. In my early 20s, I always wanted to date older guys. They were always in their 30s.
So take into account, like, she was part of the problem, right? Like, she wanted to date older guys. Like, she's basically stating, yeah, like, when I was younger, I wanted to date older guys, but now that I'm older, ... I'm going to do my best to shame men for doing exactly what they were doing when they were dating me. Like, if this is not peak narcissistic behavior, I don't know what is. Like this is the mindset that the entire human race needs to revolve around me and my needs, right? Like, nothing that I do should have any repercussions. Nothing that I do should have any consequences. Like, no, the entire human race just needs to shape around my will.
30s. Of course, when you're in your early 20s in college, you have no money and this guy's taking you to nice fancy restaurants and you have to pick between a college guy or this guy. The guy in his 30s just seems so much cooler. But as you
So like, it's all financial, right? Like, it's all transactional. It's not about love. It's not about connecting with another person. It's basically, what can he do for me? Like, okay, he's taking me to restaurant, he's doing stuff, the other guy doesn't, so therefore the math checks out. You know, it's like dating with a spreadsheet, like running dating as a corporation. It's almost like you're the company and you're looking for the perfect employee for the job, right? So you're going with interviews with like 100 potential employees, and it's like, what do you have to offer for me? What exactly is it that you can put on the table? And again, like she's explaining exactly why things are the way they are. Because if you're a young man, you're still in high school, and you want to start dating, right? And you're looking to date in the same age bracket like you notice that, well, women aren't interested. Why? Well, because you're still living with your parents. You can't afford to take them out to a nice restaurant. You're not driving a car. But you're competing with other men that do. And those other men that do are older than you because they have a job. And so, like, women like this chick, as she is stating out, like, she was dating those men back then. And meanwhile, the men in her age bracket, well, they had no opportunities. And then when they get older and they get a job, then they can start dating. Then they enter the dating pool. But she is upset that, well, they're not looking at her now. They're looking at the younger women. Because, like, the younger women are more energetic. They're doing the things that they wish they were able to do when they were younger, but, like, they couldn't date someone their age. And so now she's not getting the same attention. And instead of just, realizing that maybe she made some bad decisions, or, like, settle down with a man. Because I'm pretty sure, like, the way she looks, like, there are men that are interested in her, but, like, her standards are probably to the roof. And instead of, like, accepting that, she's going to start calling men predators and shaming them and using, like, all the nagging tactics available. Because, again, like, the human race needs to bend to her will. Like everyone in society needs to change their preferences and adjust in order to make her feel comfortable.
Get older as a female, you realize that the reason why those men can't actually date women in their own age group is because they're super immature.
No, you just literally say that in the beginning. It's not about maturity. It's about that they can't take you to a restaurant and they don't have a fancy car. Neither did you, by the way. Like, when you were 18 and you started dating older men, you didn't have the money to take the men out to a fancy restaurant, nor did you have the money to get a fancy car. But you expected that, right? And in order to get that, you had to go to the older man. Now, I gotta explain why things are the way they are. Like, first of all, this is not a natural. Like, most of the generation from my parents have an age bracket between like 5-6 years or more. I don't know how things are in America, but like in Eastern Europe, it's not uncommon to see like a 6-year-old or a 7-year-old age bracket difference, right? Like the chick is 21 and the guy is 28. Like this is not something unusual or unnatural or unheard of. Again, I don't know how things are in America and other parts of the world. Like maybe their morality is different, but like here in Eastern Europe, having an age difference that's like 6, 7, sometimes even 8 years between the couple is not unusual. But like the biggest problem that you have are the dating apps, right? Like, and even if you ignore the dating apps, even if you choose not to use them, they still affect you somehow, right? Why is that? Well, let's look at how things were back in the day. Well, back in the day, there was like a small circle of friends of the people that you knew, and then like a slightly larger circle of like the people that your friends knew. And when you wanted to date, usually you either found someone at the workplace or you managed to ask someone. It's like, okay, I'm single, I'm looking for someone, do you know anyone? And that's how people hooked up, right? And so the chick in the village was competing with the men in the village, and it usually was about the same age bracket, right? Well, now the chick in the village is competing with pretty much the entire fucking nation because she's got a dating app and she can just swipe right. And the moment she gets bored of a man, she starts swiping right again. Because you notice, like, the conversation is about dating. It's not about marriage. Like, she's not even talking about, like, oh, the reason I haven't settled down. Like, no, it's about dating. Like, next guy, next guy, next guy. You couldn't do that before. Because, again, you have a small circle of friends. And at some point, all of them start dating, so like the single people become a rarity. And so when you have a relationship and something doesn't work, well, you try to get it to work, because if you break up, chances are you may go a couple of months, if not years, being single, because like there's just not other opportunities. But nowadays, in the age of social media and dating apps, well, you broke up and you go back to Tinder or whatever, and you keep swiping right, you find someone else. And again, like, you're competing with the entire human race over there, right? Like, it's even beyond your town. Like, the chick in the village that's the hottest is not just competing with the men in the village, but the men in the city can invite her over as well. Right? So, like, this is the problem that I guess she's facing, is the supply and demand is kind of out of whack. And it's all due to the dating apps. And it's also the culture, right? Like, back then, it used to be like you can date people at work. Nowadays, people are terrified of getting Me Too'd, so like no one is dating at work. Like, the statistics actually show that the numbers of people dating at work have pivoted dramatically.
They rely on the inexperienced, naive girls that have no life experience because they put those men on a pedestal.
Well, it's also the thing that men like innocent women. Innocent, not necessarily in childish, but like they like a woman that when they take her to a restaurant, like she goes all googly eyes and she's like, wow, this place is amazing. Or when you take her in a vacation and she's all happy and excited and everything is great. Meanwhile, when you date a middle-aged woman, she's going to start nagging about like, when are you going to repair your car? Like the light is still on and you haven't took the car to a mechanic. When are you going to start looking for another job? What about the mortgage? What about, right? Like, it's a completely different thing. And so, you're upset that men have preferences. Like, I'm sorry if we have preferences. What can I say? You know, we apologize that when it comes to dating, we have the audacity to have certain desires as well. Like, I understand, you know, you wanted to be taken out to a restaurant, you wanted people to have a nice car, and I'm pretty sure you wanted him to be handsome, and you wanted him to be a little rebel, right? But unfortunately, we also have, like, certain desires. Yeah, like we want the woman that has sensuality, that is excited and grateful when you take her to a restaurant. But again, like, leftist ideology says that any age difference is oppression, right? Like, unless the woman has all the power in a relationship, then she's being oppressed. I'm sorry, it's not the case, though. It's not the case. That was the case of my parents' generation, that's for sure. It's not the case with me and my family. But again, you know, like this is coping. Like, this is her receiving. And you can go on any forum where women talk about Leonardo DiCaprio, and you can see the massive amounts of salt and the massive amounts of seeding over the man's personal choices. And what I find interesting, by the way, right? It's a relationship where both parties are adults and both parties consent, right? So, like, let's say the woman is 21, the man is 30, right? So, 9 years difference. For some reason, like, she's innocent in all of this. Like, she's the one that's being bamboozled, right? Even though she's an adult, even though she can start a business, even though she can drive a car, even though she can sign up for the draft. Can they in America? I don't know if they allow women now. But she can identify as a man and she can sign up. So, like, despite the fact that she does all of this, like, for some reason, if she dates an older man, she's being bamboozled. So by this logic, women shouldn't even enter in a business contract with older men, right? Like, if I want to start a corporation and a woman wants to pitch in, like, the law should prevent her from doing that. Like, no, you can't get into a company with V because he's older than you. He's going to abuse you. We can't allow that to happen. You're not allowed to sign a contract. Right? Like, if she wants to get a job and the boss is older, it's like, no, obviously the boss is going to take advantage of her. Financially, not sexually, right? Like, if you can't consent to sex, then you can't consent to also getting in a business contract, right? Like, maybe she would need a tutor. Maybe her father would have to be there in order to make sure that the contract is on the up and up and she's not being taken advantage of. She needs a guardian. I mean, right? Like, if this is the mentality that we're going with now, it's like any type of age difference means that she's being taken advantage of. Like, even though she's 25, if she dates someone that's 33, well, obviously she's going to be taken advantage of. Jesus.
Went from having this huge age gap of 10 to 15 years to now only wanting it to be below 5 years different.
Why 5 though? Like that is such a bizarre number. Does she like a guy that is dating someone 5 years younger than him, and this is why she's seething right now? Like, what? Why the number 5 though? Like, you know, I would get if the age difference is like 20, and if the age difference is like 20, do you know what we say in our country? We say that the woman is a gold digger, that she's just waiting for the guy who has one foot in his grave to die so she can inherit her fortune. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, think about it. Like George Soros. George Soros is an example. Like, he's got a younger woman, right? Can't we assume that the woman just wants him to pass away so that she can inherit the fortune? Like what type of young person would date such an elderly man? And like, you could put the blame on the woman in this situation. Why do we keep putting the blame on the man? Like, oh, like women cannot have financial interests? Especially when you go around and you talk about how nice it was when you were younger that you were being taken to a restaurant and shit? Like, that's what you are looking for, right? Like, you weren't looking in love, you are looking at, like, what exactly can he offer me?
I've come to the realization that I don't want to date any man that's been dating women in their early 20s who is over the age of 35. If you can't date someone within your 5-year...
Oh my goodness, what a fucking loss. Holy shit. Oh, guys, like, if we dated someone 5 years younger, we're missing the catch. Holy shit. What am I going to do now? I need to call Leonardo DiCaprio and tell him that it's over. Call Elon Musk and tell him, like, Elon, well, you had a good run. Like, you could have gotten a relationship with this lovely mademoiselle, but unfortunately, you dated a younger woman. The age difference was bigger than 5, and therefore, you're off the list. You're blacklisted now.
Age gap, then there's something wrong with you.
So like, hold on, let me get this straight. She wouldn't date one of her exes, right? Because there was something wrong with them, right? Like she would date people older than her when she was younger. So now she wouldn't date the same people again. Not because, like, the relationship didn't work out, but because they're creepy. Like, why did you date me when I was younger? God. This is... Who makes these rules, by the way? You know what? I'm curious. How old are her parents? And what is the age difference between her parents? I am genuinely curious, and then I want to know about her grandparents too. Like, there is no fucking way that there is, like, some age gap between them. And I wonder if it's bigger than 5. You know, like, this is another thing. when you can see why women, it's not that they have high standards, they have unreasonable standards. Because you go to a woman and you ask her, like, what do you want in a man? Well, I want him to be a little bit of a rebel. I want him to be tall. I want him to be handsome. I want him to have a lot of money. I want him to have this. I want him to have that. And then you ask him, you ask her, would your father fit the bill? Like your dad, right? Like, assuming that he wouldn't be your dad, assuming that it's another person, does he fit all the check boxes? And like, 100%, not even 90%, 100% of the time the answer is flat no. So it's like, okay, why can't you be a little bit more modest like your mom then? Because you have like all these ladies that are single and they're depressed and they don't know why. And it's like, like maybe your checklist of things that you're looking for in another person describes a person that just doesn't exist in reality. Or if they do exist, they're dating the 18-year-old supermodel. And probably that's why they're upset. No, but seriously, like, think about it. Go and ask men what they want in a woman. And you see that the expectations and the demands are quite reasonable. But then you ask women what are their expectations. And then when you ask them, well, would your dad fit the bill? Just out of curiosity, like, obviously, assuming he's not your dad, right? Like, when your dad was younger and he dated your mom, would he have fit the bill? The answer is no. 100% of the time, the answer is flat no. And so, maybe it's not the problem of who men date. Maybe the problem is the way too high expectations that society has forced upon women. Because, like, there's another conversation, right? Like, remember when they would say that video games and comic books create unreasonable expectations for women? Like, men read comic books, men play video games, and then they create these unreasonable expectations for women. And so we need to crack down on video games, we need to crack down on comic books, we need to crack down on porn, and we need to insert representation. Like, we need to have fat women in video games, we need to have ugly women in video games, so that men have, like, a realistic representation of what a woman is to lower their standards. You guys remember that conversation? Yeah, well, no effort was put into women having realistic standards. Because, again, if you compare this to the job market, imagine that you just graduated university and you just want a senior position at Google. And you have, like, no job experience, you don't know anyone at Google, like, but you want that job. And you refuse to take any other job unless you get that one. And everyone around you just encourages you, like, no, don't lower your standards, don't lower your expectations. Just like, you need to be happy and you need to get that job. And you end up being jobless. Because no one wants to hire you, right? Like, there's other people competing for that job that are better trained than you, that have the job experience. This is pretty much what's happening with the dating market. Anyway, I've got nothing against this lady. Just so you know, is that she went viral. And I found her take interesting because I keep hearing it. And I see it on various forums. And it's only older women that have a problem with this, right? Like, they have a problem with men dating younger women. They don't have a problem with women dating older men. Like, that's fine. And usually, it's because of their personality. Like, you're not looking for love. You're not looking for romance. You're looking for a checklist. You're looking for, like, what can you do for me? Well, this is why they go with the younger women, because not all of them think like that. And, like certain people, again, like men, for instance, put yourself in their shoes. You're 18, you want to date, but all the women around you, they're dating older men. Like you did, right? Like you described at the beginning of the video. They're dating older men because the older men can take them to restaurants, the older men have cars. And so you're single, right? And you're going into the park and you're seeing people holding hands and, they're kissing and you want some of that. And you want, like, companionship. It's not about sex. It's about, like, you want to go to a stroll in the park holding hands with a girl. You want to experience that, but, well, you can't, right? And so eventually, you get to the age of 26, 27, you now have a job, and all of a sudden, women look at you. And they find you different. Now, why wouldn't you want to share your first kiss and your first hand holding with another person that would also have their first kiss and their first hand holding? Why would you go with the person that handheld 45 guys and kissed 70 dudes before you. Like, for her, it's not going to be magical. For her, it's not going to be a new experience. For her, it's going to be plain and mundane. But for you, it's something extraordinary, right? And so, like, why wouldn't you want to share that extraordinary moment with another person that also is experiencing an extraordinary moment? So this is like the selfishness. This is why, like, people do not like this way of thinking. Because, well, life isn't fair, right? I mean, you managed to have your fun. You managed to experience all of the things up until you got 30 or 35 or whatever. And you find it unreasonable that another guy who's now 28 wants to experience those things for the first time with someone else. And not to mention, if we look at dating as a job, right, as a job interview, we compare the dating market with the job market, basically. If you go to a company and you told them that you had 30 different jobs, and you just hopped from job to job to job, how likely is it that you're going to get employed? Why wouldn't they employ you? Because they're going to think, okay, if we employ her, she's going to come here, she's going to work for a couple of months and then bounce. Meanwhile, if you have someone that's at their first job or maybe their second job, oh, that's a different story, right? It's the same with dating. If you come up and you say that you had 30 boyfriends or like you dated 40 other people, the only reason someone else would date you is if they just want to have some fun. They want to fool around. You're not relationship material at that point. Because at that point, like, they will say, well, if I get involved, right, if I get financially involved, if I get emotionally involved, I'm going to get burned. Like, why would I be more different than the 40 other guys that came before me? Like, what exactly is it that I would possibly offer that 40 other people didn't, right? Meanwhile, if you go to a girl that only had like 1 or 2 boyfriends, well, then you have a chance. And so this is why men date younger women, at least, and they have always done this. Like, this is not something new. At least, again, in Eastern Europe. I don't know how it's in the United States. Like, maybe in the United States it's illegal to date a younger woman that has like more than 5 years difference, right? So it's illegal for a 35-year-old man to date a 29-year-old. Maybe that's the case over there. I don't know. But here it's not. Let me know what you guys think, though, and I'll see you in the comment section. Take care.